Hi there, friends. Welcome to this plank power flow. For today's class, grab a couple of blocks, maybe a strap, and as always, your body, your practice. If there's something in this class that doesn't feel right for your body, take a modification, take a different pose that you know feels good in your body. Child's pose is always there for you. We'll be doing a lot of movements, as you guessed it, through plank, phalakasana, and you can always come down onto your knees. I'll try to show some modifications as we move through class using the knees through some of these little drills and fun things we'll be doing in plank. They are fun. I say fun. We'll get started in either a kneeling or a seated position, whatever feels best for you. Just close down your eyes. Get a long spine wherever you are. Just place both hands over your heart. You can stack one palm on top of the other. Start to take some deep breaths in and out through your nose if that feels good. And our focus for class today as we move through different variations of plank in a power flow is going to be one of the niyamas, tapas. And tapas relates to having, I'll call it a fiery discipline or passion. So in our lives, it relates to having that discipline to work towards a goal and to better ourselves. Plank pose can be one that requires some discipline and strength to achieve. So we will relate that to that pose as we move through class today. Building heat. Sometimes knowing that the work we do may be hard, but knowing how we feel afterwards is important. Take one more breath. You can gently open your eyes, release your hands. Let's just inhale, arms all the way up overhead a few times, palms touch. Exhale, hands draw back down through heart center. Sweep it up 2 more times. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Let's inhale, both arms back up overhead, palms touch. Exhale, right hand comes down, left arm reaches up and over into a side bend. Expanding between those ribs. Feeling those muscles stretch, those intercostals. Inhale it back up. Take a bend over towards the left. Work to open your chest up towards the ceiling. Inhale it back up overhead. Go to each side just for one more breath. Inhale and exhale. You can bring that left arm back up overhead to meet the right. This time on the exhale, come into a twist. Reach your right fingertips behind you, left fingertips on the outside of that right knee. Inhale it back up overhead. Exhale to the left into your twist. Each side one more time. Inhaling it up. Exhaling and twisting. Inhale it up. Exhale and twist. We'll bring hands back up overhead, bring them down through heart center. Bring your arms out in front of you and start to take some gentle wrist rolls. Doesn't matter which direction. Take your hand into a fist. Roll out through the wrist, maybe hearing some popping and some crackling. And we'll take these into wrist starbursts. So you can keep your hands in fists and we'll move between fists and open palms. So fists and stars, fists and stars. Once you get that little movement pattern going, start to take it really fast. This will fire up our wrists, our forearms. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Shake all of that out. Let's add in a quick little wrist stretch. Bring those right fingertips up, pull them back towards your face. Right fingertips down. Do that on the left side, fingertips up, pull them back towards your face gently. Bring them down. Let's add in some gentle shoulder rolls now. You guessed it, when we are moving through plank, we're putting a lot of demand on our wrists, our forearms, shoulders. We'll just open up through all of these areas, rolling the shoulders forward and back. And then we'll come into a neutral tabletop. Wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Let's move through a few cat-cows. Inhale, drop your belly, reach the sternum forward, sit bones up high and wide. Exhale, tuck the pelvis, round through the spine, tuck the chin. Inhale and exhale through these on your own breath. Make these movements your own, as big or as small as would feel good for you today. Let's just do one more round. And then back in that neutral tabletop, we'll take some scapular push-ups, working to strengthen the muscles that move the scapula on the back, our serratus anterior, our rhomboids. For these, have your wrists underneath your shoulders. We'll stay in tabletop. You can do these in plank too. We'll be doing a lot of planks through this class. So we'll just take them in tabletop here at the beginning. And all you need to do is drop your chest, pinch those shoulder blades together on your back. Use those rhomboids to squeeze the shoulder blades together. And then press down through the mat, push the mat away, shoulder blades separate. So we're just drawing those shoulder blades towards one another and then away, using the muscles that help stabilize our shoulder blades. Go through a few rounds of these. Last one here. Come back to neutral, and before we get started flowing into our plank position, let's work on setting up our plank. In your plank position, you can start in a tabletop, have your wrists underneath your shoulders, and then you'll curl your toes underneath, straighten your legs behind you, come up onto the toes. You can have about hips distance between your feet if that feels good. Keep the legs very active. Squeeze your glutes. Keep that navel drawing in towards the spine, ribs drawing in. And then work to neutralize your shoulder blades on your back. So with your hands, it can kind of help to think about dialing out, almost like you're opening lids. With your hands, you're not really moving your hands, so that can help to kind of neutralize those shoulder blades. Keep your gaze forward. Don't drop through your head. Keep the gaze forward. And then work to get a long line down your body, keeping the hips in line with the shoulders. So we don't want to be dropping through the hips or having them up too high. Try to find your kind of neutral spot there. Once we're in our plank, let's exhale, lift the hips up to downward facing dog. And for some people, this is an interesting fact. They say that when you're in downward facing dog, and they just means a lot of people in the yoga community, when they teach finding your distance for downward facing dog, they'll teach that from plank you should just be able to lift your hips up, and everyone's anatomy is different. Your arm and leg length is different for everyone. So I like to say you may need to walk your feet in a step or two for your downward facing dog from your plank. So you can play around with how your feet fall. I don't like that rule where you have to have the same distance from plank to downward facing dog. Anyway, enough talking. We'll just float forward here from downward facing dog to plank and hold plank for a count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift it back up to downward facing dog. Walk out your dog. Take any little wiggles. Let's shift forward and take one more plank. As you hold, if you're in your full plank, count to 10. I'll quickly show modified plank. Come down onto your knees. You can have toes curled underneath, which can help if we're moving through different movements, or you could lay the tops of your feet flat. We'll work to have a long line again, going kind of down from knees, hips, shoulders. Keep the belly drawing in. If you're in full plank, one more breath, and then lift it back up to downward facing dog. Take an inhale and an exhale here. We'll shift forward to plank or modified plank one more time and take a vinyasa. So if you're taking a modified, you'll simply come down onto your knees. You'll lower all the way down onto your chest. Inhale up into a cobra. If you're taking it through full plank, shift forward slightly, bend your elbows, come down through chaturanga. Inhale, press down, upward facing dog. And then wherever you are, cobra or upward facing dog, lift those hips up, downward facing dog. I think we're ready to flow. Let's inhale and lift the right leg up. Bring your right knee in towards your nose, plant that right foot, come down onto the back knee. Grab your blocks if you need them. We'll shift forward into Anjaneyasana, low lunge. Take a breath here. Kind of allow this left hip to start to open, maybe squeeze that left glute. Keep your chest reaching up and tall. Exhale, shift your hips back, come into Ardha Hanumanasana, half split. On the heel of that right foot with your toes lifting up towards the ceiling. Stretch through the back of that right leg. We'll inhale it back forward towards Anjaneyasana. Plant your right hand down on a block or the mat on the inside of that right leg. Shift your back shin to be parallel with front and back of the mat. We'll come into a modified side angle pose. So just like our side angle, we're down on that back knee this time. Open your chest, reach your left arm up overhead. Let's reach up towards the back of the mat with that left arm and come into a modified side plank on the left. We're on the left knee and the left hand. Reach your right arm up overhead and then take it all the way forward. Tap underneath on the back of your left ribs. Open that right arm up again. Do that 4 more times. 4, 3, 2, 1. Right arm reaches back up overhead. Bring that right hand down. We'll spin to face the back of the mat and land in a balancing tabletop. So we've got the right leg reaching long behind us. Plant those right toes down on the mat. Press down through those hands. Lift this left knee up. And we'll do 5 knee to nose lifts. So left knee comes down. 4. Each time you press up, separate those shoulder blades away from the spine. Draw the belly in. This is just like our cat. Last one, pull it into the nose and then lift it up, 3-legged dog on the left, facing the back of the mat. Bring that left knee in towards the nose. Plant that left foot. Come onto the right knee. Anjaneyasana on the left side. Hands can be on blocks. Squeeze your right glute. Keep that transverse abdominis, that corset muscle, hugging in. One more breath. Exhale, shift those hips back. Come onto the left heel, Ardha Hanumanasana, half split. Fold your torso over that front leg. Inhale it back forward. Place that left hand on the inside of that left foot. You can use a block. Shift your right shin to be parallel with front and back of the mat. Reach that right arm up and overhead. Get a long line up the right side of your body in modified side angle. And then inhale, straighten that left leg. Reach your right arm towards the front of the mat. Modified side plank on the right. Take that left hand, sweep it underneath, tap the back of the right ribs. 5 of these. 4, 3, 2, last one here. Open up into your side plank. Place that left hand down. We'll face forward in our balancing tabletop. Lift that left leg up. Place the left toes down. Right knee to nose 5 times. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right leg reaches up, 3-legged downward facing dog. Go ahead and bring that right knee in towards the nose one more time. Plant that right foot. Inhale it up into a high crescent lunge. So we're on the back toes. Energy going out through that back leg. Bend through your right knee. Take a couple of breaths here in your high crescent lunge. Noticing that fiery heat and discipline of this class. Plank pose is a challenging pose and it takes strength to build up to it. So having that commitment and that discipline to work towards plank and all of those plank drills is essentially our tapas. We'll do a knee pull now. So we'll start to shift our torso forward. We'll bring the weight into that front foot and we'll pull the arms down into a cactus as we lift this left leg up in front of us into a stork. From here, reach the left toes back behind you, come into a warrior 3. Keep the left hip pointing down towards the mat. Plant those left toes behind you right back into your high crescent lunge, and we'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, knee pull forward, elbows come down. Maintain that balance. Shift back into that warrior 3. Step the left foot down, high crescent lunge. If you ever need to step the toes down in between, it's all good. Let's inhale, lift that knee up. Let's come back to warrior 3. This time, we'll plant that left foot behind us into Virabhadrasana 1, warrior 1. So point the toes out, come onto the foot. Inhale, arms up. Our hips are facing probably towards the front left corner of the mat. Let's take a humble warrior. Reach arms back behind you. Clasp your hands if you can, or leave them open. Take an inhale. Open up through those upper arm bones. Exhale, fold forward. Try to bring your right shoulder to the inside of that right knee. Take a breath, release through the crown of your head. Maybe shake your neck or your head to remind your neck to release. We'll exhale and plant both hands down to frame that front foot. We'll spin up onto the left toes, and then we'll step the right leg back into a 3-legged plank. So same form for our plank. We have the right glute maximus engaging to pull that right leg up. We'll hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right foot comes down, left foot lifts up. We'll do 5 seconds on this side. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Left foot comes down. You can take a vinyasa here on your knees or full vinyasa, or you could meet in downward facing dog. Take an inhale in through the nose, let it go through the mouth. Lift your left leg up high, bring your left knee in towards your nose, plant that left foot, rise up into your high crescent on the left. Take a breath here. We'll shift forward now. Start to shift your weight into the left foot. Really ground down through that left foot. Draw the right knee in towards the chest, into your stork. Cactus those arms, open the chest. Hands can come to heart center. See if you can float that right leg behind you into a warrior 3. Place those right toes down. Inhale it up, high crescent. 2 more times. Inhale, cactus those arms up. Bring the knee up. Float back into your warrior 3. Place those right toes down. Inhale it up, high crescent. Last time here. Inhale. Notice if it gets easier each time we do this. Once we get the movement pattern, we're learning. Let's place that right foot down into our Virabhadrasana 1, warrior 1. Inhale, arms up. Notice with that discipline, with that commitment, each time you do that movement pattern, you get that brain-body connection, the mind-the-muscle connection. You commit that to memory. That's where our discipline comes in. It might not be easy the first few times you practice it, but it will get easier. Exhale, reach the hands behind you. Clasp the hands if you can. Open the chest. Exhale, humble warrior. Stay here for a couple of breaths. Keep scooping that left hip in so you're not jutting the hips out to the side. Exhale, release those hands down, frame the front foot, come onto the back toes. Left foot steps back to meet the right, and we'll add in some plank jacks here. So first step would be just to step one leg out side to side at a time. If you're feeling good here, stay here. If you're really feeling spicy, you could jump the legs out and in, trying to maintain your plank. So not sinking, not lifting the hips way up above the shoulders. 3, 2, 1. Back to plank. Let's come down onto our knees, and then we'll take a gentle puppy stretch here. So if you need to scoot back a little bit, you can. Reach your arms forward. Exhale, lower the chest down towards the mat. Open up through those shoulders, the chest. You can place forehead or chin down on the mat. Keep lifting up high and wide with those sit bones behind you. If this stretch ever feels intense, you could always take it one arm at a time by folding in one forearm. Take one more breath. We'll slide forward into a sphinx. So place your forearms down on the mat, slide forward, place your hips down on the mat, And we'll come into Sphinx, a little back bend here. So we're on the forearms, drawing the elbows back towards our body, pulling your chest forward, shoulder blades squeeze towards one another on the back. Keep the belly hugging in. Try not to collapse. Keep that belly active. Keep the tops of your feet pressing into the mat and breathe. 3, 2, 1. Curl your toes underneath. We're coming for forearm plank. Curl your toes underneath, press down through those forearms, lift the hips up, take a forearm plank here. Draw in through the ribs and the belly, and we'll add some saws. So using your toes, push forward and back, forward and back. Let's do 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come down onto your knees. Walk your knees out wide. Big toes touch. Press those hips back towards your heels. Take a child's pose. Forehead can come down on the mat, and if it feels good, reach those fingertips back towards your heels. Allow your shoulders to release and sink forward. Give them a little break. Come back to that breath. One more breath. Reach your arms in front of you. Carefully press down through those palms. As you lift your head, we'll curl the toes underneath and lift up into our downward facing dog. In your downward facing dog, lift your right leg up, bend your knee, take some hip circles with that right leg. Do 2 or 3 going each direction. And then bring your right knee in towards your nose. Plant your right foot, cartwheel it up, warrior 2. So we've got our right heel lining up with the left inner arch. Stack your shoulders over your hips, reach your arms out. Take a breath. Flip that front palm to face the ceiling. Reverse your warrior. Side stretch up the right side. Exhale, right forearm to thigh, left arm reaches up and overhead into our side angle. Open your chest up. We'll inhale and reach this left arm back up towards the back of the mat. Our torso will come up. We'll move through goddess. So spin that back heel in. Take a pause in your goddess. And then we'll open up into our side angle pose at the back of the mat. So we'll shift the right toes, the left toes, open up. And we'll sweep back and forth here a couple of times, kind of moving through this goddess in the middle, and then side angle on each side. So make this movement your own. Whatever foot placement feels best for you, take that. You might have to just shift the feet slightly each time. Let's do one more round. Come back to the back of the mat. And then this next time we come forward, we'll reach that left arm all the way up overhead and place it on the inside of that right foot as we come up on to the back left toes. Open this right arm up. We'll step this right foot back to our side plank on the left. So come to the outer edge of your left foot, step this right foot back. If you need to take a couple of steps to get there, it's all good. If you need to come down onto that left knee, that is also all good. And then here in our side plank, we'll roll side to side. So right hand can come down, shift your toes to face forward, come onto the right side for side plank. Lift up through this bottom hip, come back to center, go to the left, back to center, go to the right. We'll come back to center. Widen your feet a little bit and add in some plank shoulder taps. These can be done on the knees as well. So right hand taps left shoulder, left taps right. Just go side to side here, trying not to really swing through the body. Keep your plank steady. You'll have a little shift in weight side to side. Let's do each side 2 more times. And then we'll lift the hips up, downward facing dog. Take an inhale in through the nose. Let it go through the mouth. Inhale and lift that left leg up. Bend the knee. Take your hip circles on the left side. And then lift that left leg up high. Bring left knee in towards the nose. Plant it. Cartwheel up into that warrior two. Reverse that warrior. Flip the front palm. Exhale, left forearm to thigh. Right arm reaches up and overhead. Into your side angle. Press down through the outer edge of your right foot. Let's reach up. Inhale into your goddess. So turn that right heel in. Take a pulse in your goddess. Open into your side angle at the back of the mat. Come back to your goddess. Side angle at the front. Move side to side here. On your own breath. Each time, work to rotate your chest up towards the ceiling. Practice those things that sometimes are challenging for you, like our plank pose, like some of these power classes. It's what our tapas is all about. Let's reach the right arm all the way up and overhead. Spin onto those back toes. Plant that right hand down. Open up into your revolved lunge. And then we'll step that left foot back into our side plank. So come onto the outer edge of the right foot. Left foot steps back. This time as we roll side to side, we'll add a leg lift. Or if you felt good with the side to sides, stay there. So we'll lift the left leg, come into plank, roll to the left side, lift the right leg, plank, go side to side here. Woo, I about lost it. Come back to center, lift the right leg. Let's do each side one more time. Maybe my right side is not wanting to balance today. We'll come back to center and we'll do some walkouts. So if you want to do these on your knees, you could just work the upper body. So we'll reach, I'll show it in plank first. We'll reach out to the side with the right, out to the side with the left, forward a little with the right hand, forward a little with the left hand. Walk the hands back in, feet back in. So on your knees, you could just work the upper body part. Walking the hands out and in. If you're in full plank, take whatever version works best for you. Doing the feet first or the hands first. Make it your own. Wherever you are, do one more round. And then bring your knees down. Take a quick breath in your child's pose. Hands can reach forward or back. Take a cleansing breath in through the nose. Let it go through the mouth. We'll inhale and rise back up. Curl those toes. Lift your hips up to downward facing dog. From here, you could either tiptoe to the front of your mat and meet in a forward fold. If you're feeling that heat and that fiery discipline, and you're feeling like a challenge, we could add some frog hops. So walk your feet in slightly. I like to bring my toes to touch. Bend your knees. You can reach your hips back towards your heels, and we'll hop up and try to get the hips over the shoulders. Little handstand hops. Maybe find a moment of hang time. And then land. That was not a graceful landing. Land at the front of your mat. Take your forward fold. Knees can be bent. Release the crown of your head. And then roll it up to stand. Slowly stacking those vertebrae. One at a time. Arrive at the top. Take a breath in your Tadasana. Close down your eyes. Maybe wipe the sweat if you're like me. Take a couple of breaths. Feeling that fire, that heat, that challenge, that commitment. All of those things. You are strong. You are powerful. You are committed. Let's inhale, arms up overhead. You can keep your feet hip distance apart or bring them together as you lower into your Utkatasana chair. From chair, we'll exhale, release your torso down, swing your arms behind, release your head, inhale it back up into chair. Take a few of these chair swings, just releasing all of that out through the upper back, through the shoulders. They're working so hard in all of these planks. Last one here. Come back to your chair. Rise all the way up to stand. Keep your arms up overhead. Shift the weight into your left foot. Reach your right foot up into stork. And then we'll reach that right foot back behind us, just like we did before, into warrior three. This time, if you'd like to try to airplane the arms, you can. Reach them behind you with palms facing down. Balance here for a breath. And then place your right toes behind you for pyramid pose. So play around with the distance. You'll want some space between your feet. Work to square your hips forward. Inhale those arms up. Exhale, hinge at your hips, fold forward. Use those blocks under your hands if you like them. Release the crown of your head. Wrap your right hip forward, left hip back. Take one more breath. On your next inhale, rise it back up to stand. Arms can be up, overhead. And we'll launch forward towards half moon. So shift the weight into your left foot. Left hand can come down on a block or the mat. As you reach your right leg back behind you and then work to open your right hip, open your chest. Reach your right arm up overhead. Flex through that right foot. Get a long side body. Start to rise up. See how slowly you can reach that right foot towards the back of the mat. I didn't do very slow there. Land in your reverse warrior. Reach that left arm up and overhead. Come back towards warrior two. Straighten your front leg. Heel toe that back foot in slightly. And let's come into triangle pose. Hinge at that left hip. Reach the left arm forward. Hand can come down on block. Shin the mat. Reach your right arm up and overhead. Open your chest. Exhale this right hand down to face the front. We'll shift onto those back toes and we'll step this left foot back into our three-legged plank again. Bend that left knee, bring left knee towards left elbow, and let's take some elevators. So we'll slide the knee up and down on that left arm. Let's do one more. Bring that left leg right back up into our three-legged downward facing dog. Bring that left foot forward towards the outside of the left hand and we'll land in high lizard lunge. Hands can be on blocks. You could shift forward. Any little movements here in your lizard that would feel good. Maybe come down onto that back knee. Maybe rock side to side. Sometimes these movements, those elevators we just did, those don't come easy and they're very challenging. So to tap into your tapas, you have to have this desire for personal growth. It doesn't necessarily always mean building physical strength. It can be mental strength, emotional strength, any of those things. Take one more breath in your lizard. If you're down on forearms or the back knee, let's come back up onto hands and the back toe. Step that right foot forward towards the outside edge of the mat and then lower your hips down into yogi squat, malasana. You can rock side to side. Press those upper arms into the thighs into arms. Open up the hips. And then place your hands down. Lift your hips up, straighten your legs, come into a forward fold. Roll it all the way back up to stand. One vertebrae at a time. Keep your feet either hips distance apart or bring them together. We'll come back into those chair swings. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, sit back into your chair. Next exhale, release the torso, release the hands. Take these on your own breath, up and down. Let's do one more. Come back to your chair, rise it all the way back up to stand. Keep the arms up overhead. Shift the weight into your right leg. Lift that left leg up into stork. Fly it back into your warrior three. Maybe try those airplane arms. Hold it for a breath. Check in with that hip. Point the left hip down towards the mat. Step the left foot behind you for pyramid. Get some space between your legs. Square your hips to the front. Take an inhale. Exhale, hinge at your hips. Fold forward over that front leg. Use your blocks if you need them. Release through the crown of your head. One more breath. Next inhale, rise it all the way back up to stand. We'll come back forward for our half moon. So shift the weight into your right foot. Left hand comes down on block or on fingertips on the mat. Or right hand, open your left leg up behind you. Open the hip, work to open the chest. Find a point to focus on that's not moving. And then I'm going to do it this time. Let's see how slowly, like you're moving through thick, thick honey, can you land that left foot down towards the back of your mat. Reach your right arm up overhead into that reverse warrior. Inhale it back up towards warrior two. Straighten that front leg. Heel toe that back foot in if you need it. Hinge at the right hip. Reach forward for triangle pose. Use a block under your right hand if you need it. Start to reach this left hand forward down to the inside of that right foot. Shift onto those back toes. Plant your hands down. Reach that right leg behind you. Three-legged plank. Here are those elevators. So bring that, gotta move my left toes forward. Bring that right knee towards right elbow to the wrist, to the elbow, to the wrist, to the elbow, to the wrist. Let's do one more. To the elbow, to the wrist. Reach it back up. Three-legged downward facing dog. Right foot comes to the outside of the right hand for our lizard lunge. Stay up high here if that feels good. Rock back and forth. Hands can be on blocks. Or explore coming down onto that back knee. Sometimes it can feel good to turn the front toes out at like a 45-degree angle. Just choose what works for your body and your lizard. Take a few more wiggles. And then if you're down on forearms or knee, come back up onto hands and toe. And then step that left foot forward into your malasana. Lower the hips into your yogi squat. If you'd like to add a twist here, you can. Bring the left fingertips down, open the right arm. Hands can come back to center. Bring the right fingertips down, open the left. Hands can come back to center. A little challenge. See if you can just sit back down onto your seat from here. Use your hands if you need to. Arrive on your seat. Scoot your seat back and we'll come to a Janu Shirsasana. So if you know you like to use your strap for that one, have it handy. And we will reach the right leg out long. Bend the left leg, come onto the left sole of the foot, and then open that left knee out to the side as you line up the left sole of your foot on the inside of the right thigh. Ground down into your sit bones. Get a long spine. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, hinge at your hips. Use your hands to either grab the foot or hook the strap around the sole of the foot. Fold forward over that straight leg. Can release through the upper back, through the neck. We'll stay here for 3 breath cycles. Last one. On your next inhale, start to walk fingertips back towards your hips. Realign your vertebrae. Take your left arm, reach it up and overhead and behind you, and we'll take a kneeling wild thing. So come up onto the right foot and the left shin. As you sweep your right arm in front of you and up behind you, lift the hips, squeeze the glutes, open the chest. Exhale, sit it back down. Let's switch sides. Reach the left leg long. Bend the right knee, come on the sole of the foot, and then open that right knee out to the side. Line up the sole of the foot with the inside of that left leg. Adjust your seat. Get on those sit bones. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, hinge and fold. Use the strap if you need it. Take one more deep inhale. Deep exhale. Next inhale, start to walk the hands back up towards the body. When you arrive, reach your right arm up overhead, place it behind you. Reach that left arm forward in front of you. Come on to the right shin, the left foot, squeeze the glutes, lift it up, press down through that right hand into the mat. Exhale, sit it back down. We'll take a wide-legged stretch now. So come into a wide-legged seated position. And we'll side bend over towards the right. So you can take your right hand towards the inside of that leg, open that left arm up and overhead, open your chest. And then close off your chest down towards the mat. Reach the left hand down towards the mat, and we'll walk our hands towards the middle into our fold. You can always have blocks in front of you to put hands on. Just release the chest down towards the mat. Take a breath here. And then we'll start to walk the hands back in and over towards the left. Place the left hand on the inside of that left leg. Open that right arm up and overhead. Open your chest. And then inhale it back up to your seat. Bend those knees. You can use your hands to help you. Bring the soles of the feet together. We'll come into phalakasana or cobbler's pose, but instead of folding forward, come on to either your palms or tinted fingertips behind you, and let's roll the shoulders back, open the chest, press down through those sit bones, draw the shoulder blades together on your back. Gaze can be forward and up slightly. Just open that chest, this whole area that we've had working so hard, pushing in our plank. Let's just work to open that. And then release. Come up onto the soles of your feet. Slowly roll down onto your back, one vertebrae at a time. Actually, before you roll down, bring your blocks with you because we'll do a supported fish at the end. So slowly roll it down. Once you arrive on your back, hug your knees in towards your chest. Give them a little side to side rock, circular motion, whatever feels good. And then just drop both knees down over towards the right. Maybe press up and stack up onto that outer right hip. Open your left arm, cactus or T. Take a gentle supine twist for a couple of breaths. Let's inhale it back up to center. Take your knees over towards the left, stacking those hips. Reach the right arm up overhead and out to the side. Inhale it back up to center. Hug those knees in. And then here you can choose either your traditional Shavasana, just extend your legs down towards the opposite corners of the mat. If you'd like to take a supported fish for your Shavasana, that can feel really nice to open up through the chest and the shoulders where we've been working in our plank today. To do a supported fish, grab those blocks, make yourself a little heart bench. Take one block horizontally to go underneath your shoulder blades. Another one will be your pillow underneath your head. And then you'll want to carefully roll down onto those blocks and make sure that you position that bottom one directly underneath the base of your shoulder blades. So we'll carefully roll it down onto the blocks. And once you arrive on the blocks, take any little adjustments you need for the blocks to be giving you support. Arms reach out to the sides. Legs can be either Shavasana legs. You could keep knees bent and allow them to knock in on one another, like a reconstructive pose. You could take Supta Baddha Konasana, that could feel nice. And then with those arms, we're really working to lift the chest up higher than the upper arm bones and allowing those to just sink down towards the mat, open up through the pecs. Close down your eyes. Release that control you've had on your breath. Let's take one inhale in together. let it go through your mouth. Just let it all go. I love this quote by Abraham Lincoln. It's discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most. That really is what this discipline, this passion, tapas boils down to. It is choosing maybe something that might be a little bit more difficult right now, knowing that the outcome is what you want most. This doesn't just apply to this time on our mat and challenging ourselves through physical postures and exercise and strengthening the body. It's also choosing to strengthen our mind and how we treat ourselves. It's silencing those voices in our head that creep in and tell us that we're not enough, we're not strong enough, we're not good enough. It's repeatedly silencing those voices through discipline, through passion, through commitment, through knowing that you are enough. If you would like to stay in your supported fish or shavasana for longer, I invite you to do so. If you need to come out, the best way to come out of your supported fish is just to slide off of those props to one side and land there in the fetal position. Give yourself a breath there. Keep your eyes closed. And then from there, you can use your hands to carefully press up into a comfortable seat. Keep your eyes closed. Bring your hands into Anjali Mudra at heart center. Let's take one more breath together, breathing in, breathing out. Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing with me today.